I still remember the night everything cracked open, the kind of night that doesn't just change your plans, but rewrites who you think you are. Snow was coming down hard, thick, and quiet, the kind that makes the city feel abandoned, like you're the last person left awake. I just locked up the office another late night where people assumed I stayed because I loved money or power, not because I didn't know what else to do with the silence waiting at home. I walked to my car, already rehearsing tomorrow in my head, when I noticed something wrong. The windows were fogged from the inside, not from the weather, from breathing. And when I opened the door, two small faces stared back at me from the back seat. One of them whispered, "Please don't yell, we're just trying to stay warm." Right there in that frozen parking lot, I felt every label people had slapped on me start to fall apart. You see, most people knew me as the guy who made it, the one who came from nothing and somehow ended up running a company everyone wanted a piece of. To them, I was lucky, arrogant, cold, untouchable. What they didn't see was the kid I used to be, the one who got laughed at for wearing the same jacket every winter, the one teachers underestimated and classmates shoved into lockers. I learned early that if you don't want to be hurt, you build walls. Money just made those walls taller. So when I saw those two girls curled up in my car, my first reaction wasn't noble. It was panic. My heart racing, my brain screaming about responsibility, lawsuits, headlines. But then one of them reached for her sister's hand like she'd been doing it her whole life and said, "It's okay, I've got you." 5 years old, talking like a parent. That's when my chest tightened. That's when the past came rushing back. They told me their names were Lily and May. Twins. They hadn't eaten all day. Their mom wasn't waking up anymore. They didn't say it dramatically. No sobbing. Just facts like they'd already learned. The world doesn't stop for grief. I dropped to my knees right there in the snow, pretending I was tying my shoe so they wouldn't see my face. Because suddenly, I wasn't the successful CEO. I was the kid who once slept with his coat on because the heat got shut off. And I knew something most people never learn until it's too late. Sometimes help doesn't arrive politely. Sometimes it crawls into your back seat and waits for you to notice. I took them home that night without a plan. No speeches, no big promises, just heat food and a couch. On the drive, May asked if I was going to take them to the police. Lily asked if I was going to make them leave in the morning. I told them the truth. I don't know what tomorrow looks like, but tonight you're safe. You know what I mean? It wasn't heroic. It was human. The next morning, everything blew up. My daughter Emma came downstairs and froze when she saw them. Her face went white, then red, then hard. "You said it was just us," she said, her voice shaking. That hit harder than any insult I'd ever heard in a boardroom, because she was right. After her mom died, I promised her we'd be enough for each other. I broke that promise the second I opened my car door. For days, the house felt like a battlefield without yelling. Emma stayed distant. Lily and May stayed quiet, moving like guests afraid to take up space. And me, I was stuck in the middle wondering if helping someone else meant failing my own child. That's the part nobody talks about. Doing the right thing doesn't feel clean. It feels messy and lonely and full of doubt. The first real shift came over something stupidly small, a trip to a toy store. I told the twins to pick anything. They thought it was a trick. When they realized it wasn't, they cried. Not sniffles. Full-on shaking sobs over two cheap dolls. Emma watched from across the room, arms crossed, jaw tight. But when May whispered, "It's ours," nobody can take it, I saw something change in my daughter's eyes. Empathy sneaking in where jealousy had been camping out. That night, Lily told me everything. About the man who yelled at their mom. About hiding in a closet when things got loud. About running away with nothing but a backpack. About waking up next to their mother and waiting for her to breathe. I sat there, nodding, holding it together while something inside me burned. Not just anger at that man, but at every adult who had looked the other way. At a system that waits until it's too late. I promised them they weren't going anywhere. I meant it. And then the system showed up at my door with a clipboard and a polite smile. A social worker. Anonymous report. No legal guardianship. Rules are rules. Watching Lily and May being taken away felt like getting shoved back into that locker again, powerless, invisible, told to stand down while someone else decided your life. Emma screamed. I stood there shaking, smiling like I understood while everything in me wanted to break something. That's when the real fight started. Lawyers, paperwork, evaluations. People questioning my motives, my past, my ability to love more than one child. One official actually said, "You seem detached." I laughed, because if they knew how many nights I'd sat awake as a kid wondering if anyone would notice if I disappeared, they'd understand exactly why I couldn't walk away now. The worst moment came in court. Their former stepfather showed up late, smirking, claiming rights he never earned. He called them a burden. Said, "Kids bounce back." Then outside the courtroom he pulled me aside and said, "Make this easy. Pay me and they're yours." That's when I realized this wasn't just about adoption. This was about proving something. That love isn't ownership. That blood doesn't make you family. Choice does. When the judge asked the girls where they wanted to live, Lily looked straight at me and said, "With the one who stayed." No rehearsing, no coaching, just truth. I'd spent my whole life being underestimated, told I was too cold, too distant, too broken to be anything but successful, and in that moment I won something money never gave me. I was chosen. When the ruling came down in our favor, Emma wrapped her arms around the twins and said, "They're my sisters." Just like that. Simple. Final. I don't think I breathed for a full minute. Now, months later, the house is loud. Chaotic. Shoes everywhere. Arguments over cereal, laughter echoing down the hall. The same people who once called me heartless now tell this story like it was destiny, like it was obvious. But you know what? It wasn't obvious. It was a choice. Over and over again. And that's what I want to ask you. When the world tells you to stay in your lane, to protect what's yours, to mind your own business, what do you do? Do you follow the rules, or do you follow your conscience? Drop your thoughts below. I want to know where you stand because stories like this don't have one clean answer and maybe they're not supposed to.